Hi guys, welcome to our new series, The Broken Mirror. We really hope you enjoy. The people playing in this chapter are me, Ash, and Lazy. I play Adrien slash Chat Noir and the narrator.
Hi, I'm Lazy and I play Marinette slash Ladybug and Tikki.
Hope you enjoy.
Miraculous Ladybug!
Ladybug threw her lucky charm and watches thousands of ladybugs swarm in Paris, fixing the damage caused by the akumatized person. Ladybug didn't think Hawkmoth would akumatize anyone this late, but he did, and just as they had done for the past year, they purified the Akuma. Found
Found
it!
it!
Ladybug and Chat Noir sat together while fist bumping. Well, I better get going. Don't let the cat out of the bag just yet, Chat joked, turning around to leave. Ladybug didn't want him to leave just yet. She pulled in his tail, making him turn to look at her.
Can we talk?
She paused and let go of his belt.
I mean, it's just been really stressful and I thought maybe.
Hey, he put his hands on both of her shoulders. Of course, milady. You at the top of the Eiffel Tower in 5? He smiled and let his arms down while he waited her response. Ladybug smiled and nodded. She ran to a nearby alley to detransform.
Spots off.
A flash of red filled the dark area for a quick second before leaving it darker than it had been before. She handed her Kwame Tikki a macaron, and she gladly took it and started munching happily.
I wonder why Hawkmoth would akumatize someone this late. I mean, I know he's desperate to get the Miraculouses, but don't you think that's a bit extreme?
Marinette thought out loud.
This is Hawkmoth we're dealing with, Marinette. Whatever he's planning, it's going to be extreme, but no matter what he does, you and Cat Noir will always be there to save Paris.
Marinette found some comfort in her words. She was right. Chat Noir and her would make sure nothing bad happened in Paris. After all, they were Paris' superheroes. She didn't want to take too much time away from Chat Noir, but he was the only person who knew what she was going through. After Master Thru gave up his guardianship to Ladybug and lost his memory, she blamed herself for being so careless. And then, of course, there was Luca. She just broke up with him the day before.
You ready?
She asked Tikki. The red and black Kwame nodded, and once again, she was Ladybug. She zipped across the city, the chilled wind blowing through her hair. She made her way to the Eiffel Tower, which Chat Noir was already at. He was sitting on the railing, overlooking the city below. She landed with a soft thud behind him. Little kitty on a roof, all alone without his lady, he sang quietly.
Hey.
She said. So, what do you want to talk about, milady? He asked. Ladybug walked up to the railing to be closer to him. She crossed her arms and leaned over the railing. He turned his head to look at her. Her hair blew slightly with the breeze, and she walked the city closely. He followed and turned his head to match hers.
Am I a good ladybug?
She asked. Chat Noir turned his head once more and stared at her puzzledly. What do you mean?
I mean, am I a good ladybug after everything that's happened?
She stuttered, turning her head to meet his gaze. Of course you are. You're the best ladybug Paris has ever seen, he assured her.
Are you sure?
She whispered just loud enough for him to hear. I'm sure, he insisted. If you weren't Ladybug, Hawkmoth would probably have the Miraculouses by now. Shat smiled.
How could you be so sure? Maybe if there was a different ladybug, Hawkmoth wouldn't be a threat anymore.
She choked and turned her head back to face Paris.
Maybe everything I've done has only made matters worse.
She didn't want to bring this down on Chat Noir, but she already had said it without thinking. She watched as lights from different buildings turned off and on. You know what? Maybe you're right, he stated, making Ladybug's arm slip forward over the bar, causing her to fall, but she caught herself.
What?
She asked, confused. It was supposed to be comforting her. Maybe somewhere out there someone else did get the miraculous. Maybe they did defeat Hawkmoth sooner than we do. But right now, you're Ladybug. We might not have done it yet, but the future isn't set in stone. Not yet, at least. We will defeat Hawkmoth, and I'll make sure none of this ever happens again, he promised. He got off from his position on the railing and stepped down to hug Ladybug.
Thank you, Sha.
She smiled as he released her from the hug. Any time, Bugaboo, he teased. Ladybug rolled her eyes and stared back into the distance. Ladybug sighed. The view was breathtaking, the moon encasing the city in a light glow. This was nice, Chat Noir and her together just talking. It was like making a new friend from whom you just want to know everything about, rather than talking about the responsibilities of superheroes.
Ask me something.
She said. Something?
Yeah, anything.
She said again, watching him. Okay, then. Who are you behind the mask? He smirked, leaning close to her face, catching Ladybug off guard. A light blush filled her cheeks, his gleaming emerald eyes staring into hers. Her heart raced in her chest. Did Shat know the effect he had on her sometimes? Is that why he kept doing it? No, of course not. He was just a hopeless romantic.
Okay, well, anything except that.
She giggled while pushing him away by moving his nose back. Hmm. Well then, is your hair really blue? He asked, knowing that the miraculous could change a person's appearance completely. She thought about it for a moment, making sure it wouldn't give him any hints as to who she was. There were plenty of girls who had blue hair in Paris. She would just be a needle in a haystack.
Yes.
She grinned.
Okay, what is your most embarrassing memory with me?
Most embarrassing memory? I guess probably when we had to switch Miraculouses. To be honest, I had no idea what to do. I probably wouldn't be alive if you weren't there to help. Once again, they found themselves staring into each other's eyes.
Bugaboo.
She teased. Then what about you? What's your most embarrassing memory with me? They were both leaning against the railing, facing each other.
When we first became superheroes, I was such a klutz. I fell right onto you and we got tied together with my yo-yo.
She covered her face with her hands as she felt her cheeks start to glow. I guess it's just a reminder that we're tied together, my lady. He quipped and laughed, seeing her face glow even more.
You stupid cat.
She said, shoving her hand in his face. Hey! Okay.
Anyway, do you have any
She paused and thought for a moment.
hidden talents?
Ladybug asked, actually interested in what he had to say for this. Besides telling jokes, I'm actually pretty good on the piano. Shat chuckled, thinking back to the many times his father made him practice.
I guess you'll have to play me something one day.
She joked, a smile creeping back onto her face. Was he always this beautiful? No. Maybe it was just the lighting or something. She didn't and would never have feelings for him. I mean, she did like him, just not like him. He was a great partner, and because of their secret identities, she didn't know who he really was. He'd be the worst person ever, or even someone she hated, which probably wasn't true, but there was still the possibility. Was she wrong for thinking this? Was she only saying it so she didn't develop feelings for him? You okay, LB? Shat waved his hand in front of her face, bringing her back from her thoughts.
Sorry.
She squeaked, realizing she was staring at him. Tell me, Ladybug, who was your first kiss? Ladybug half expected him to lean in again, but he didn't. He stood there, leaning against the railing, watching her. Her face turned red, and she hoped he couldn't tell through the darkness. She bit her lip as she thought about it for a moment. There was a time when she kissed Adrien thinking he was a statue. The time when Noir and Ladybug kissed when they lost their memories, which, of course, she didn't count as a kiss. And there was a time she had to kiss Noir to break the spell he was under. There was no way her first kiss was actually Noir. She thought back further, but her mind was blank. Her first kiss was Noir. She covered her mouth with one hand as she slowly started to comprehend what she had just discovered. Ladybug looked up at him. Her face was even redder if that were possible.
With you?
She breathed. Shat looked at her with confusion. What was that?
With you?
He said a little louder.
Oh, well, what about you? Who was your first kiss with?
You, he instantly replied, a growing smile plastered across his face. How could he not be flustered? He was telling this to his crush. Why was she so flustered? Was he wrong for not being flustered, or was she the wrong one for being flustered? They've been partners for almost 2 years now, and they've definitely grown closer to each other than they were in the beginning. It's crazy to think that at the time she had only had one boyfriend, and she just broke up with him recently. And then there was Adrien, the boy she could never reveal her feelings to. It would just complicate everything even more. How would she explain her disappearing every day? She couldn't just tell him that she was a superhero. She lied to Luca, and that got her a one-way ticket to being single again. She couldn't date anyone without having to lie to them a lot, unless she told them her secret. But she couldn't do that. It would not only put her in danger, but them as well. And then there was Chat Noir. It would be easier to date him since she wouldn't have to lie to him, but it'd be a lot riskier.
How do you just do that?
She questioned. Do what? He replied.
I mean so much to you. How can you just casually say that?
She asked him. I don't overthink it, he says, casually shrugging his shoulders.
Are you saying I overthink things?
She says, turning to him. I'm not saying you don't. Look, he turned to her. You just need to relax. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, he said.
That's easier said than done.
She scoffed. You'd be surprised. He took hold of Ladybug's hand in his. Close your eyes. She stared at him, her face hot, but she still obeyed and closed her eyes. Breathe in. She followed and breathed in the cold night air. Exhale. She exhaled and felt Shaw's hot breath on her face. She opened her eyes and saw Chat Noir standing right in front of her, closer than she had thought. He had his eyes closed and was repeating the same two words. She noticed how his blonde hair blew slightly in the wind, his lips waiting to be touched with hers. So she did. Without thinking, she went to her tippy toes and filled the gap between their lips. His lips were soft and warm. Within seconds, she realized what she had done and she pulled away. She crossed her arms and looked down to hide her face, which was as red as her mask.
I am so sorry. I don't know what came over me. I think I should go.
She grabbed her yo-yo and zipped across the city, eager to get home. She landed on her balcony and de-transformed.
Tikki, please tell me I didn't just do what I think I just did.
I wish I could, but why did you do it?
I don't know. He was there and I was there and he looked beautiful and I couldn't stop myself.
She admitted.
Do you like him?
What? No, of course not. We're just friends.
She took a deep breath.
Either way, it wasn't supposed to happen.
She opened the trap door and slid through the opening, falling on her bed. She turned over so she was on her stomach and shoved her face in her pillow.
Shoot, now I have to explain to him why I did that.
She groaned.
I'm such an idiot.
Guess what I'm gonna do before school starts?
What?
I'm gonna dye my hair back to Narcissa again. It's a butterfly laugh. Maybe somewhere out there Hey. He got off his he got off her position on the oh my god, okay, hold up. He waved his hand in her face, bringing her back from her thoughts. Okay. You okay, Albie? Stab!
Sound effects! Natural sound effects with Lizzie.
In the daytime, I'm Marinette, and just a normal. But there's something about me that no one knows yet. 'Cause I've got a secret.
You know what time it is? Woo! It's
Miraculous.